Hello Animals fans and welcome back to the Animals universe. We're doing another AniLysis today and it is on YeerKiller9. You'll see that that was the title of the video. So you might be wondering, YeerKiller9, that was a chat room person, wasn't it? That we never actually see. So Adam, you might ask, why is there a picture of a scared woman riding the back of a horse? You'll find out soon enough, but firstly let's discuss where we know YeerKiller9 from. And it comes obviously in book 16, The Warning. Let's have a look at the quote. The six of us watched, fascinated, as the conversation went scrolling down the screen. A conversation about things we thought only we knew about. YeerKiller9. There's no way. Go Vikes. You have to chop them up to be sure they're really... Chaz. Why don't we get serious here? The Yeerks are... Go Vikes. Dead. YeerKiller9. Listen to me. I was infested by a Yeerk. It's... Chaz. Only getting stronger. And instead of using this chat to plan... Yeerk hater. Kill all Yeerks! Gump8293. I think my dad is one. What can I do? Chaz. Some action. We end up doing nothing. YeerKiller9. Was only by a miracle that I escaped. All very confusing, I know, but this was supposed to be based on how the internet chat rooms used to be. We could only post like 10 words at a time. Yeah, not even I remember the internet being like that. We're talking quite a while ago. We're talking like mid-90s internet, okay? I wasn't even on the internet during that phase. You know, I was around during like the MSN days, you know, where it was okay, you know, you could type paragraphs and stuff. It was great. But no, back then it was a bit different. So it makes it difficult to understand what exactly was being said. But we're talking specifically about YeerKiller9. That was the only time YeerKiller9 was involved in a conversation. And what I've done is I've taken everything that YeerKiller9 said and stuck it in order for you. That's this here. There's no way. Listen to me. I was infested by a Yeerk. It was only by a miracle that I escaped. That was the only time we ever saw YeerKiller9 speak at the start of this long chapter full of internet chat. But we know that YeerKiller9 frequents this website because Marco goes back into it later on. While I spent the evening with my family, Marco had been busy. He had used the hack-proof program Axe had written for him to go back to the chat room. He told us about it when we trudged out to the woods at the edge of Cassie's farm. Tobias and Axe could both be themselves out there. Most of the same people were there, Marco explained. There were some new names, but Govikes, Yeerk Hater, Chaz, CKD Sweet, YeerKiller, Kalito, Megmom and Gump8293 were all there. This is all we ever hear about YeerKiller9, or shortened there to YeerKiller by Marco. So there's not much to go on really, because what the animals suspected was that some of these people were genuine, and some of them were actually controllers. Now they suspected that Yeerk Hater, one of those users, was a controller, and they found out that he had a name that wasn't actually a real name, it was a fake name. So they had a way of figuring out who was real or was not real, and YeerKiller9 was not mentioned in that equation, so who knows, who knows. What can we get from what they were saying, because YeerKiller9 was actually the very first line we get from all this chat room business in this book. The very first line of dialogue is YeerKiller9, which is why it's cut off in the quote that I gave you back then. He or she said, "There's no way." Every other time when someone starts a new sentence, they capitalize it. They've got pretty good grammar, the users in this chat room. So the fact that YeerKiller's first line starts with a lowercase means that the animals have probably missed something that was said earlier, so we can't make anything out of that first sentence. But then YeerKiller9 says, "Listen to me, I was infested by a Yeerk. It was only by a miracle I escaped." So YeerKiller9 claims to have previously been a controller who has escaped the clutches of the Yeerks. Are they telling the truth? We don't know. What I will say is, we get a huge block of all this chat going on. Loads of it. Pages of well, like four pages of internet chat. And YeerKiller9 says all her their stuff at the start of it all, but then never continues, and nobody asks a clarifying question like, oh, what was it like, or how did you escape? And you'd think if YeerKiller9 went on about, oh, I escaped, it was a miracle, and then they just stop talking, it seems a bit strange. Maybe that's just, you know, me in 2024 as an internet user, and, you know, we all, it's a different era, isn't it? It's a different era, people talk differently. But if that were nowadays, if we were in a chat room and someone starts saying, I had a Yeerk slug in my head and I escaped and it was a miracle, I'd expect a little more, not for them to just stop there and for nobody to question it, it just stops. You know, you started something, try to finish it, you know. At least respond to what else people say. That's the only reason to give me doubt as to whether this person's actually telling the truth. The fact that they just didn't say anything else. So it is possible that YeerKiller9 was a controller in disguise. But what if they weren't? This is where we start to get this picture coming into the fray. I highly doubt this is an internet troll. It's possible that they're just making everything up, but they're also not a controller. But I think it comes down to two things. One, they are a controller and they're lying to infiltrate this chat room, or they are genuine in what they're saying. I think it's those two options. There is that third option of, oh, they're just a troll, but I highly doubt it. If indeed that this is a person who escaped the Yeerks, then they say it was by a miracle. I don't think a person will escape the clutches of the Yeerks before the animals. I think the Yeerks had it pretty much down to a T. If someone did escape, they'd die. They'd just be gone. There could be the case that someone did escape and they just legged it and they managed to stay hidden from the Yeerks. That could be the case here. But they say it was a miracle. Now, what is a miracle? A miracle is something that you just would not expect. That just doesn't seem natural. And what could be more unnatural in the context of the Animorphs at book 1? For this person to be sitting in the Yeerk pool and suddenly there's an elephant, a tiger, a horse, a gorilla, and a hawk come flying in and let people and release people from their cages. Seems somewhat miraculous. You could say, well, the Yeerks would know it's the Andalite bandits, but you've got to remember, this was the first time they came into proper contact with the Yeerks. So there was no such thing as the Andalite bandits at the time when the woman rode on Cassie's back to freedom. Which woman am I talking about? What's this all gearing up to? Let's read the quote. Cassie nudged two of the humans from the cages and tossed back her head. They figured out what she wanted and climbed on her back. Then she galloped toward the stairs. Yes, run, Visser 3 crowed. It makes a more challenging target. Then Visser 3 struck. From one of the heads, a round, spinning ball of flame erupted. A ball of flame that flew like a missile. It skimmed through the air and splattered against the back of one of the women riding Cassie. Ah! She fell off, screaming and rolling around to put out the flames. Cassie kept going with only one rider. She reached the base of the stairs. The final count was exactly one human freed. The woman who rode Cassie's back up out of that hellish pit. The mystery rider from the end of book 1. The one human that escaped during that first fateful trip down to the Yeerk pool. We never hear of her again. We didn't even see her run away or anything like that. It's just said that she was the one person who they managed to get out of the Yeerk pool, and then that's it. Never hear from them again. In this miraculous escape attempt, is YeerKiller9 that woman? Now you understand, hopefully, why I've got this picture of the scared woman mounting a horse in this cave background. How likely is this? I wouldn't say it's not impossible. On a scale of 1 to 100, 1 being impossible, 100 being certain, I'd probably say it's about 40. But you know what? I can be a gambling man today. Because all this YeerKiller says was, I was a controller and I escaped by a miracle. What could be more miraculous than a horse coming down and charging you out of the Yeerk pool? That seems pretty bloody miraculous, don't you think? So yes, I'm going to headcanon, and you're more than welcome to do it as well. I'm going to headcanon that YeerKiller9 is actually the woman that the Animorphs freed in book 1. Perhaps the authors actually deliberately set that up to make people question, oh, is this someone that the Animorphs helped free? I can't remember, was there anybody else after book 1 that the Animorphs freed, with the obvious exceptions of Hawk-Bajir, Jarahami and Ket Hellpack? We're talking specific, unless there's Hawk-Bajir freaking, even then that's not going to happen. But yeah, was there any other case of a human being freed? I can't rightly remember. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So yeah, that's going to be my headcanon. And what do you think? Do you think it's a possibility? Am I missing something that makes it absolutely impossible? Or is there something that almost proves it? I've given you the quotes, all that we know about YeerKiller9. This person is on this Yeerk chat room talking about how they used to be a controller and how they escaped. But they never say anything more, at least not that we can see, not that is reported to us in the writing of Book 16, The Warning. Let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, let's consider what the next AniLysis is going to be. In this spin the wheel competition, we have everything from between books 1 and 25, up to and including 25, and also including Alternamorphs 1, because I wanted to do that one out of order. So we've got options such as Bart Jacobs, David's mother, and Chadu. What's it going to be? Spin the wheel, spin away. Ba ba da da ba 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 da ba 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 da bo ba 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 da bo. That's the new theme tune. The racetrack. So that'll be in book 14. Was it? I don't think it was ever in any other book. So, but I will make sure. Yeah, the racetrack. That is what Cassie won the race with, Minneapolis Max, I believe. But well, no, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's do this properly. Tune in for the next AniLysis, where we'll get all the relevant information of the racetrack. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you then somewhere else in the Animorphs universe. Cheerio.